Right, for this next lesson we're going to look at a beautiful dawn sky, and you can see the picture we're going to use. It's the sun rising slowly over snow-covered fields, obviously in winter, and the focal point being on this windmill over here. We're only going to use three colours. We're going to use permanent rose, ultramarine blue and yellow ochre, plus the white. So let's get straight on and see how much fun this is going to be. Now, I've painted the canvas panel with a tint of ultramarine blue and titanium white. Not particularly to produce the sky effect, but more just to tint the panel so that if I miss anything when I'm painting, it doesn't show through a stark white and it'll be hidden by this overall blue background. So we're going to start off with the 1-inch flat brush, and we're going to streak in on a nice angle from left to right this blue. It's a little bit more of the same, in fact, and all I'm doing is to use ultramarine blue and white, plus a little bit of the retarder gel, and that'll keep, or hopefully keep, the pale blue paint open so I can start to blend a little bit. Now you can see that it's blending quite nicely. As we're coming down, I'm going to start introducing some yellow ochre into this lighter area here. Now you can see the next colour I've got is the yellow ochre and the white, and is this sort of creamy colour. Again, I don't want it particularly mixed to a solid cream. I'm quite happy for it to be a little bit streaky. I'm also going to pull in just a tiniest touch, tiny little touch of that permanent rose, and then we'll bring that in. Notice I'm starting up below where the blue is happening. I don't want it to end up looking like a bar of rock of many colours, so we'll go back into the blue in a minute, but in the meantime we'll bring ourselves in a streak of yellow like that. And then as we get towards the horizon, which is just about here, if you come in a little bit closer, you can just about see the very pale blue outline of just done of a hint of some bushes and the windmill here. I've deliberately not done it too dark because otherwise it'll stand out when I try and paint over it. Right, you can see that I'm bringing in a little bit of the ultramarine blue and the permanent rose together, bringing in some white as well. So it's a nice mauvey colour, slightly more to the blue on the horizon. And so as we lighten that off, it's starting to blend into the pinks and the golds just above it. What we're going to do now is to add in a light streak, which is mostly white. And if we have a look at the picture, you can see this sort of light arrow-like streak here. That's the first sign of the sun really making its presence felt on the day. So the way we replicate that is by just bringing that in with some white paint. Okay, we're starting to blend back into this top part of the sky as I promised before. Right, just bringing the smaller brush in just to give some nice highlighted streaks. Okay, I'm going to leave the sky like that now for the moment, and we'll start just adding in the distant features. And as I said before, this is a snow scene, so the other learning process apart from the sky here is we're learning about the relationship of the sky to the surrounding countryside, and so we're going to use these colours that we've used in the sky to reflect off the snow, and you'll see just how little white there is in snow when it comes down to it if you look at the colours properly. At the same time we'll also add in the windmill, and we'll see how we get on from there. Okay, now you can see that I've painted in the a rough outline of the windmill in just basically a dark blue and red paint with a little yellow added. So at the moment that's got no detail, it's just really positioned the thing and allowed us to see where we can put the distant trees. You can see how light the colour is. And then what you can do is perhaps come in with the next level here. I'm just dragging that in like that. You can see how I'm just using a number 1 brush, and in the dawn light sky, it's no more than I'm just stabbing the side of the brush. And then just to separate the two areas, and again to show how the light is reflected, I'm going to paint the snow in the distance that sort of colour. Now look, that's nothing like, there's white, there's the difference. It's quite a mauvey sort of colour because it's way in the distance, so there's a lot more blue in it, a little bit of red, and if we just put a few little streaks in the distance, look how white that appears, and yet you've just seen how in reality how mauvey that sort of colour is. Now, I'm not going to expect you to sit through me painting all this snow here, but I just want you to see again how the light changes snow. In the background, we've got this very much cooler, bluer colour I showed you just previously. As we're coming forward, we're picking up this reddy, creamy colour that's lower down in the sky as a reflection on the snow. Okay, we've added a few more bushes here just to really give an opportunity to get a little bit of watery sunlight on 1 or 2 of them. But what I'm going to do now is take the opportunity to just drag down a little bit of light on the windmill here. There's no particular shadow, of course, because there isn't any sun, or even when we paint the sun in, there isn't going to be any real sunlight that's going to be warm or strong enough to create a shadow. Right, I'm just going to put the sun in about here, and I'm going to start with a semblance of an orange circle, and all I've used there is permanent rose and the yellow ochre. Then on top of that I'm going to put a little bit of yellow ochre just to tone it down. In fact, I'm going to add a little bit of white into that because I don't want the sun too prominent at this stage. That's better. All the time you can see what I'm doing is blending so the sun is white on the top and there's just that little hint of the orange glow at the bottom. It'll take you 3 or 4 goes to reach this, and you won't be able to do it while the paint's wet. You can blend to some extent, but that's starting to come alive a little bit now. Okay, while that sun's drying off a little bit, before we add any more highlights into it, I'm just going to add in the sails on the windmill. And the way I'm going to use that, or do that, is by using the chisel edge of this 1-inch flat brush. And at this stage, all I'm going to do is put in, let's have a look, we'll go in with that sort of pale blue colour. Let's pull a little bit more of that out. We don't want too much blue or too much colour actually on the brush. There's the colour that we're going to use. So again, taking the bulk of the paint off. And this is the bravery test, where you paint all over your sky. You get one chance to do it. We're going to have, I think, one sail up there, not quite an X. There will be an X shape, but not straight on as an X. Perhaps running from there and to there. Now then, what I'm going to do is just drag out very, very slightly. Don't forget, these are a fair distance away, so drag back into the, and then that one's going to drag away like that, and that one's going to drag away like that. Okay, you can see I'm just now Getting that sort of effect with the brush with some dark brown paint. This is just going to give that sort of open effect of the sails. Right, we're coming back to our watery sun. I'm using a little bit of glazing material again, and I think we're almost done. We need to perhaps add a little bit of white to the snow on the roof of the mill. It's just hidden in there. Let's just put some snow on the top of these sails. There we are. And there we've got it. And I hope you see how easy that is. The sky is simply streaks of colour, with that lighter streak breaking into the sky like an arrow. You've got the sun just rising above the snowy horizon, and you can see, I hope, just how little, in fact there's almost no pure white in the snow, and yet it still screams out snow. And here we've got the white sails and the mill, which is catching, you can see the yellow streaks there, the golden streaks, which are catching the first rays of sunlight. So there we are. I hope you've enjoyed that. It's a simple little exercise, but one which I think will give you great satisfaction. It's the old windmill at dawn. Okay, so I hope you realise now that producing good quality skies isn't at all difficult if you follow those simple steps that I've shown you. And it doesn't matter whether it's day or night, sunny or stormy, the principles are the same. Mix plenty of paint, keep working quickly, and use a big brush, because for the most part, skies occupy quite a big area of the canvas you're going to paint. Okay, next up we're going to look at mountains, hills and rocks, because these are the next elements coming down from the skies. And they form quite literally a beautiful backdrop to so many landscape paintings. So when you're ready, you pop me into the DVD, press play again, and I'll be waiting for you to take you through step by step all the ways in which you can produce these beautiful elements of rocks and hills and mountains.